Hey, Lee Wolf here. We are live on this Game Face Monday. Hope everyone had a great weekend. As always, Mr. Richie Bello has me sitting by his side, and today we have a special guest, Anthony Alagona, who's the CEO of Appointments That Show. How you guys doing?
Great.
Excellent. Thank you.
Awesome. And we are just, before we get rolling on the show, just going to run a quick video from our sponsor, Shop Smart Autos. We'll be right back.
Look, you can keep telling your sales staff to make more calls day after day, but trying to sell more vehicles and retain customers with dirty data clogging your DMS and CDP, well, it's like trying to concentrate in a messy office. It's frustrating, chaotic, and let's be honest, a little embarrassing. But now with the SSA VIN retention report, you can clean up your DMS and CDP in no time. It's the ultimate tool to tidy up your data and pinpoint the customers you need to target. Reclaim those lost opportunities, win back the customers you thought were gone, and boost your sales with laser-sharp precision. The SSA VIN retention report helps you focus on the right customers at the right time with the right messages. Don't let dirty data hold you back. Clean it up, win them back, and drive success with the SSA VIN retention report from Shop Smart Autos. Inspect what you expect.
Hey, okay, we are back. So, Anthony, I see we had a little bug there at the bottom of the screen. So the website is byappointmentonlyevents.com, but the event is by appointment only, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool deal. All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Anthony, where you came from and how you made it here.
Okay. Well, my name's Anthony Alagona. I've been in the business since the end of 2011. Before I jumped into automotive, I spent about 20 years in hospitality, working in restaurants in every different position. And end of 2007, going into 2008, I fell in some hard times from some bad decisions I made, kind of living homeless up and down the highway in hotels and stuff like that. Picked myself up off my feet, got back into the restaurant business, started working, and then ran into one of my friends in 2011 that does the same thing that I do right now. And he said, Anthony, you've always been good talking to people. Why don't you come try doing what I do in automotive? And I had some other friends in automotive that tried to pull me into sales before, and I never really considered it because I was stuck in the vortex of hospitality. I love what I did, but I was making a lot of bad decisions when I was working in there. So the problem was, at the time I was living on the Jersey Shore, and the office was in Philadelphia. It's about an hour, 40 minutes away from each other. And I didn't have a driver's license at the time because I was being a knucklehead, at the time. So I drove out to his house, and I stayed with him for a couple of days, and I went to his office, and I watched what he did, and I got inspired, honestly. I was like, you know what? Because the last time I kind of ran around with him, we were doing a lot of different things, and he wasn't so successful. So I got inspired, and I really wanted to try it out. And I went back to my girlfriend. She's like, "What are you going to do?" And I was like, he's only going to pay me $10 an hour, but I need to kind of change my life, so I got to try something.
Yeah.
So I went and did it, and I worked for him for about a year straight. And I remember I was renting a car from Enterprise for $730 a month because they wouldn't check the status of my license. They knew they just checked to see if you had one. So I literally rented it for a year, and I spent $20 a day on gas and tolls, drinking Red Bulls, driving back and forth, trying to learn the car business from the outside.
Wow.
I really liked what I did. We kind of butted heads a little bit after the first year. I ended up quitting. I would jump back into hospitality for about 6 months. I created a pretty big project inside the hospitality world, and I was doing pretty well for myself. And he called me back and asked me to come back to work. And to tell you the truth, I didn't want to leave in the first place. I went back to work, but I went back with a different mindset, and I said, "Listen, I'm not gonna let somebody else make me quit again. If I'm going to come back and do this, I'm going to make a name for myself. I'm going to master my craft, and I'm going to carve a way for myself in this industry somehow. And I did that. I went back to work for him. I worked for him for about another 4 years. And literally, I put myself on the road and, became a trainer in the industry. First, I was a phone analyst listening to phone calls. Then I went training with him, and they taught me how to be a trainer and stuff. And then I just really put myself on a plane and went to visit all his clients and trained all the clients for about 4 years straight, and became the number one guy in the company for a while. There was a time where there's no more room for me to grow, and I felt that. So I decided in 2015 to make a jump in May. And when I made that jump, I knew that was going to come with some repercussions. I had some other friends that worked for the company, and when they left, it didn't really go too well. And I was a close friend that was leaving, and we both probably felt a certain way about the situation. Looking back, it's probably the best thing I ever did. Okay. Because the day I quit, the attack started coming. I got attacked on social media for about a year straight, saying I was a fraud, don't work with Anthony Alagona. I have a lawsuit that hangs up in a picture frame above my desk for a non-compete that I had signed, saying I wouldn't open my own company. And then I got an email, and the only reason I got the email is because it was in my mother's email. She was on the stream, and it was an email that sent out to 20,000 dealers saying, don't work with me. Wow. And I had two choices. Either I could kind of breathe life into what they were saying, or I could just put my head down and work. And I decided to put my head down and work.
And is that where Appointments That Show was born?
No, that's where Anthony Alagona Enterprises were born. So okay. I was a trainer for him. I was literally going out and building BDCs, and I was their monthly support. I was their coach. I did it from my home office with Zooms, and I went to their dealerships and traveled, and I created a lot of good relationships. And the way I separate myself is that, I'm genuine. I come down and I break bread with you. I tell you my story. I kind of motivate you. I turn up your energy. I give you all the tools to do something really good inside business development. It's not rocket science. If I can do it, they can do it. Right. The difference is it's like the same reason why most people don't lift weights is because they're heavy. And I told myself, when I left him, I don't have to get every dealership. I just have to get 12 dealerships that love me so much, and I can do a good job for you that they'll bring me back once a quarter. And if I do that, I can live a good life doing what I love. And that's what I set out to do. And when I left in May of 2015, I'll never forget it. It was May 14, 2015. The minute I pressed send, I said thank you, and I said my goodbyes on social media just because I knew it was coming. And as soon as I hit enter, the attack started coming. But I also gave myself a personal workout goal that I was going to do for 90 days. I was going to work out every day. I was going to run, and I was going to run further from the day before. Mm-hmm. And the reason I did that is because I knew from previous experience when somebody else left the company, I was going to face an uphill battle. I knew that people were going to start to disassociate themselves from me because they weren't sure if what he was saying was true. I knew that it was going to be an uphill battle trying to get clients. I knew I was going to fail. So I needed to have control somewhere. So I did that. And people watched me put my head down and work. And I landed my first client in August. I got married in September. I got married to an Indian girl. My wedding was like $75,000. I had $0 to my name. I had bad credit. I just took on a new car payment for my wife, for my girlfriend, and moved into a new apartment with a higher rent. And when I quit, and she's like, "What are you doing? You have no money saved. What are we going to do?" And I said, "Well, I'm not going back to being a bartender." And I said, if I can make all that money for them, fly me all around the country, I can do that for myself. Right. I've already built a name for 4.5 years. I'm going to do it. And that's what I did. I told myself I'm not going to fail. I'm going to be very patient. I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to focus on 3 things that I can control: my thoughts, my actions, and my attitude. And after a year of doing it, if I'm not in the business, then at least I tried. Right. People started seeing through it. I landed my first clients. Next thing you know, I'm booked out a year in advance, and you can't really even get me to come to your dealership because I'm booked so far in advance. It was a blessing, thank God. But what had happened is I put myself out there. I went to dealerships. I got results. I put it on Facebook, on YouTube. I never advertise. You'll never see me advertise. You'll never see me looking for clients. Every client that I get comes to me through a referral, and I'm proud of that. And it's because I spent 4.5 years working for another company, building my brand, and then building my brand when I left again in a different way. Sure. And trying to lead by example. And
yes, it sounds like you overcame quite a bit. And so Appointments That Show,
how did that come about?
Primary focus.
So Appointments That Show came about at the end of 2019. Mm-hmm. It was I was getting ready to speak at a conference called the Rockstar Auto Conference, and COVID was about to happen. I was about to have my second child. My daughter was about to come. My wife was just going back into the workforce as a nurse to go deal with the COVID patients. And I had a couple of my clients say, Anthony, instead of you coming down and training us every month and doing your thing, he's like, we're tired of just the turnover of the employees. Why don't you just build a BDC and just do it for us? And I was like, you know what? I never thought of that. And I was like, it might be a good idea. I was like, because I was getting frustrated as a trainer. I mean, as a trainer, it's a blessing and a curse that when you got to go back down there and train people all over in the same content again, it's easy. But it's also, I want to get results. I don't want to just sit here and take your money. I want to help you get to the next level, because then we can get me other dealers and better things happen for all of us.
Sure.
So I was frustrated, and I wanted to understand the pain points behind why the dealerships couldn't really function with their BDCs correctly. So I did that. I made a deal with 3 of my dealers. It wasn't even a contract. Like I said, that's a handshake. I want X amount of dollars for 3 months. If I can't get this going by 3 months, then I'm just going to walk away and we're going to continue what we were doing. I'll train you from afar. And it was actually a blessing. It was hard. I'm not going to get me wrong. I opened up without my phones arriving on time. I was calling dealerships in Kentucky with cell phones from New Jersey. But I learned on the fly, and I started to learn all the pain points behind the dealership. And most of it's communication and utilizing the CRM and mastering your craft, basically. And I learned that not all clients are the best clients, and that you really got to break bread with them and make sure that you guys have the same end result in mind. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen over time with hard work and good communication. And that's what I started doing. I started building my appointment set show, one dealership at a time. And, we're in a good place. I help lots of dealers. Some dealers, we handle all their leads. Some dealers, we do a la carte, and we're handling long-term leads. It just depends on the dealership and their situation.
Yeah.
And that's how it came about.
Yeah. Pretty awesome. And Richie, Anthony quite a while, right?
Yes, I do. I know Anthony when he started. I've always been there for him, because I always knew the ability that he could have. And he was a very nice person. He was very kind. And when you're kind to people, you change their mindset, so I always knew he was motivation and all that. He started with this company that he said. He started doing these quotes all the time in that color, orange and all that. And I always liked it and shared it, because I felt like, we all need motivation. It doesn't matter who you are. I need motivation a lot. Everybody needs it. There's 2 things. There's motivation. And then if you have discipline, that carries on. It ain't just about getting motivated, because I know plenty of guys that are trainers and all that. They get motivated and then they drop down because the discipline is not there. It's all about that discipline that keeps that drive going. So with Anthony, I use it as a motivation type of stuff, and it was great. I mean, today I talk a lot to Larry Feldman and different people. Anthony's very busy, so we didn't get a chance to talk that much, but I watch all his stuff and I know what he does, and I've always been a supporter, because it impresses me how he's a vet. And you hear that story. He told me that story a long time ago, and it tells me that a person like that can really get somewhere. He's gotten really far, and sky's the limit. In Orlando, when I went to Orlando, there's a company there, headquarter Honda.
Yes.
So I went there. I remember, Anthony, I called you from there.
Yeah.
So I went there and I put a deal together with them for Shop Smart and all that. But I says, who's doing your BDC? And he says, oh, Anthony. And they showed me the whole process. Let me tell you something. That store rocks. And people know of Anthony there, even new people and all that. That store is amazing what Anthony did there. And that's a really good quality group.
They're good people. Headquarter Honda is a great people. I love them.
Quality group. The guy's Cuban from the Miami area, and he's got that store over there too. And he's a great guy. The dealer principal is great. People don't know that I'm Cuban, but maybe people do that. They don't know. All of a sudden and then he was talking to me about Anthony. And stores like that, when you go, and not Anthony saying, when somebody else talks about what a great job he did, and it was really, really unbelievable. That's one company that got leads from us, and they really worked pretty good because the conversion was so great, but they had the process in BDC to make that work. And that's one store that I know that Anthony did a tremendous job there, and he left his name there.
I tell you what, that's humbling. That's awesome to know they're talking so nice about me. I tell people it's usually not the lead, it's the language, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And the one thing about Anthony's event is that there's massive amount of speakers. It's like, I call it an event, a workshop, you know, so much knowledge. There's so much knowledge, so much knowledge in that event that dealers, you got to go to this event. This event has the biggest speakers that I've seen, tremendous different products to help your dealership scale. That's the other thing, that they have product lines there that can help your dealership really scale. And right now it's a little bit spotty with dealerships business. I mean, some stores are doing okay, some stores are down. The inventory is getting like crazy right now.
Yeah.
And we know that because that's what we do, right?
Yeah, of course.
Inventory is aging like real quick. So when an inventory ages, that's only telling you that the flip's not there, that what's in demand right now, customers are in demand.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So Anthony's got all kinds of things to help your situation grow and scale.
Yeah, by appointment only, this event is on July 16th and 17th. Is that right?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah, and so who should be attending? Why is it special? We have the website running at the bottom of the screen. They can inquire about tickets there, right?
Yes. So it's an event we put together. About a year and a half ago, I got inspired to go back out and teach. And I was like, I miss traveling. I miss going to dealerships and teaching. And I wanted to teach everything I kind of learned in the past 4.5, 5 years. I've been doing this offsite BDC thing. And I said, instead of me going to teach by myself, why don't I host an immersion and bring everybody in the business alongside me? Because everybody that I brought to each of my 2 first events and that you're going to see at this next event are people that I followed, I respect, I learned from. I've probably taken some of their content and repurposed it myself. It's who I learn from. So
Sure.
My way is not the only way. 2 + 2 is not the only, equals 4 is not the only way. So I said, let me bring all the best along with me. And that's how it was born. I reached out to Robin Wilson of Epic BDC. I told her about my idea. She didn't even flinch. She said yes right away. And that's what kind of motivated me to put it together. And, this is our 3rd event. It's going to be, it's being held at Bell Works, which is an iconic spot in New Jersey. 2-day event. You're going to see some really good speakers. Let me give you some idea of who's going to be there. Let me see here. You're going to see myself. You're going to see Robin Wilson. You're going to see Velko. You're going to see Glenn Lundy. You're going to see Adam Marburger. You're going to see Mark Rodriguez. You're going to see Sean Armour. Somebody grab that. That's okay. You're going to see Sean Armour. You're going to see Amanda Hoffman. There's a list of people that are going to be there that are going to be putting some powerful presentations together. The first 2 shows, listen, I never thrown conferences before, right? I haven't done it for the automotive space. I've always attended them. Right. So the first 2 shows, I really had the idea of, listen, I want to deliver a certain message, but I didn't give the speakers the message I wanted them to deliver. I let them kind of speak about what they were good at and what they wanted to speak on, which kind of didn't really have a focus on really what I wanted to come out of it. I wanted people to get content that they can go back and bring back to the dealership and use right away and get results in whatever part it is. And I said, this time I'm like, I want to make it strategic. And my son is big into puzzles. We call my son the puzzle master. And I was like, what? Let's treat this like a puzzle. There's 3 different kind of puzzles inside the dealership as it pertains to BDC. You can either have a BDC that's in-house that handles all the leads from cradle to grave. And when they set the appointments, they hand it off to the sales team. Or you can have an internet sales team that handles the leads from cradle to grave from when they come in and then they sell the car to them, right? Or you have an offsite solution like myself. All 3 of these puzzles have very similar pieces, but they each have different pieces as well.
Right.
What I want to do is I want to make sure that we talk about all the pieces inside the BDC, because if you know about all the pieces, then you can actually put your puzzle together. Unfortunately, most dealerships don't know all the pieces, and sometimes they only piece a couple of them together the right way, and they kind of get halfway results. So we want to really make each speaker a piece of the puzzle, and we're going to start building the BDC puzzle throughout the event and piece together a successful BDC as it pertains to onboard and hiring, training and development, a lead follow-up process. What's your phone process? What's your AI mentality, as far as utilizing it with text message and email, right?
Sure.
How about video, the importance of video and how we incorporate it? The CRM processes, the biggest thing I see, listen, I've been in thousands of dealerships since 2011. The biggest thing I see, I could probably count on one hand since 2011 how many dealerships actually utilize their CRM the right way. That is the biggest thing. The most important tool inside the dealership that costs us money, where we house all of our leads, doesn't get maximized. And that's where that's where all the money is. I call it, it's supposed to stand for, customer relationship management. It's the cash revenue machine for me. Right? That's where all the money is. If there's one place I can send anybody every day to go find a car deal, well, would they go there? They say, yes, Anthony, I will. Well, go to the CRM because that's where the deals are at.
Right.
It's just hard. It's hard to get them out every day. So that's what inspired us to put this together. And I think you're going to see a great list of speakers over 2 days. The first night on July 16th, we're going to be hosting a VIP party. I just announced it the other day. It's going to be at the Avenue in Long Branch, New Jersey, right on the Jersey Shore. It's got a rooftop pool. It's got bar lounge. It's going to be open bar, premium open bar, past hors d'oeuvres. I have a really, really, really good DJ who's a personal friend of mine coming to DJ the event. We're going to be raising money for the Warrior Canine Connection. And, I just really want people to come together, break bread, learn. And when you get a bunch of people in the same room running in the same direction, the energy is contagious. So that's what I really want to come out of it.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. And on that note, we're just going to break away for about 60 seconds for a retention break with JP from Vinsight.
Most dealers think they have a sales problem, but let's take a look closer. It's not about selling more cars. It's about keeping the customers you already sold. Guys, today, more than 70% of your customers are defecting after the sale. They go elsewhere for service, parts, and eventually their next car. That's millions in lost revenue walking out your door every year. Here's the truth. Your CRMs were built to sell cars, but not retain customers. And with fixed stops booked out for weeks, you need a better system to stay top of mind and re-engage after the sale without adding more workloads to your team. Guys, retention is the new frontier. And if you're not focused on it today, you're going to feel it later. I'm JP with Vinsight. You sell them, we keep them coming.
All right. So the question of the day, Anthony, is AI. And what are your thoughts? And I'm sure Richie's going to have some pretty strong thoughts on this as well. How is that impacting BDC departments? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is there how is AI coming into the game there?
It just depends on the dealership and how they're utilizing it. Listen, I think we should use it alongside the human, because people want actual interaction. Right?
Yeah.
They want to actually interact with people. And I personally think that BDCs and sales professionals should be utilizing ChatGPT and all the technology out there to help curate the message they deliver to the customer. Mm-hmm. There's only a certain amount of messages that you really have to try to deliver in the sales environment. And if you can utilize the technology to create the right messaging and then you personalize it, it's only going to help you bring the customer down that journey, through that journey faster, because they're all sitting at the top of the funnel. So we want to pull them down the funnel faster. And I tell people sales is a language. You can't sell anything without talking or communicating. And ChatGPT is going to be really creative and use emojis. It's going to have tone. It's going to have personality in it. You can customize it. It'll learn about you. And it's, as long as you don't depend on it to do everything. There's dealerships that I see that, they make the first initial reach out and then it's virtual reality reaching out the rest of the way. Yeah. I don't suggest that at all. I suggest that we use it to help create the language that we need to reach out to customers, maybe use it for some long-term follow-up, but, utilize the humans more.
Yeah. Yeah. Richie, what are your thoughts on that? More of a mix, right? With the human and the AI.
Well, my thoughts are, what is AI? It's really an assistant. And it says it, it's supposed to assist you
Mhm.
Right.
It's not supposed to do everything for you. It's the assistant part. It's like those virtual assistants that now everybody's using, the VAs, right?
Yeah,
They are there to help you. They don't do what you're supposed to do,
of
but
course.
they do there to minimize your workload so then you can focus on what we all do best, right?
Mm.
So what is it that we do best? It all depends. Like some people are good at coding, some people are good at sales. It depends what you do best. And that's what you have. You have that AI to help you get things better, to organize you, like you need an agenda or something. It gives you the idea and then you put it all together.
Yep.
And the same way with the virtual BDCs, the people that think that they can actually get AI and automation and run their business without a human are really, they don't know what to
Yeah.
do.
Mhm.
And it's not about that. It's really more about what you can take that AI, integrate that as an assistant to help your productivity increase. And what increases the productivity is using these type of things. But how do we know? By your gross profit and by your revenue stream. Does it help? Has it helped us at our company, Lee? As you know,
Mhm.
it has, but we don't use it just for that. Like I have a newsletter out. You just started with thought and then you write it yourself because you're a writer. That's what you are, a content writer. And
Right.
I've had so many people watch it and tell me, well, that's not really what it's supposed to
Right.
do. Like they really write this for you. It says, yeah, we use it as an assistant.
Right.
And when you can use it as an assistant, you're going to grow and scale. The dealerships that use it just for everything, write this email, write that. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not there yet. We're not
No.
ready for that yet.
No, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of thought process. Here's just a little. I was sharing part of this story with Richie the other day, and Anthony. I don't know whether you can relate, but I went to Taco Bell like 6 weeks ago, and I went up to order, and for the first time in my history, it was some kind of an AI
Yeah.
talking device talking to me instead of the person. Welcome to Taco Bell. So I ordered and it got the order right, but at first I was completely put off. You're talking to a robot that wants to know if you want beef or not, and I'm like, oh, this
Yeah.
is
Weird.
terrible. So I get up to the window and the order was made wrong by the human.
Oh wow.
So my thought on that, listening to the two of you just now, it came back to me and I'm going, wouldn't it be great if I could have talked to a human, have the human put the order in, but maybe there's a camera that knows the order
Yeah. Exactly.
and it says to the person, you left the tomatoes out,
Yeah.
instead of,
Exactly.
it's like,
100%.
it's like I had a
Absolutely.
terrible conversation and the wrong meal,
Yep. And crazy.
Yeah. So that balance, I would love for it to be there as well.
Absolutely. That's a good example, though.
Oh, yeah. And so Richie mentioned that you're a veteran as well?
Yes. I joined the Army in 1992.
Wow.
In 92, I was down in Fort Knox, Kentucky for my basic training. Then I went to Fort Sam Houston. I was a medic, and then I was a pharmacy tech for them. I went to medic school first, and then I was like, I think I need something different. And they put me into the pharmacy program.
Wow. Well, thank you very much for your service.
Hey, listen, I did it to get out of my house, honestly.
Yeah.
I was like, time for me to go. I needed some
Yeah.
discipline. It was a good experience. I questioned myself when I arrived to basic training. But then after the first couple of days and, they're messing with you, kind of get over it. And then you kind of get motivated. So it was a good experience overall.
Yeah. Awesome. And and that brings to light, Richie, your book, Let Data Take the Wheel. It's on Amazon. It's kicking butt and taking names, and all the proceeds go to stopsoldiersuicide.org, which, from what I understand, is still the only organization dedicated solely to soldier suicide in the country.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's a major problem. And Richie, it's got book's doing well, right? It's
it's doing all right. It could be doing better because I would like to cut more to this. I would like to donate more. So my publishing guy, Michael Lewis, he keeps a track of it. Maybe we should have him on the podcast. But the most important thing is what we're donating, not just the book sales.
No, of course.
We're doing it for the donation part.
Yeah.
You know? Books
Yeah.
are going to sell and they're not. And the longer it is, the more people buy them. But the whole goal for that is get them sold and get the donations going, because, you know,
Absolutely.
it's really scary what's happening to the veterans. And just understand something. They come in and they're all messed up only because, you know, there's no training, there's no infrastructure in a lot of places. And, you know, it confuses them. And then, you know, they have no money and they're tight and all that. And then they think of a bad thing in their head. And, you know, it's a tough situation. What happens to them?
It is. They come back and they're in some pretty bad mental situations, you know?
Yeah. And you know what? That's really, really bad. So we decided almost all our books are about donating back to the veterans. As a lot of people that know me know that my biggest goal is the nonprofit. My goal is not any other business I have, because I have partners in those businesses and whatever. And one day they're going to say, let's sell it and let's get, you know, that's it. We want our money. Let's get out of here. Right. After that's why we have businesses, and I have a lot of investors and venture people that invest in me. So it's just about getting rid of it. You know, it's about selling it, scale it, and sell it. But the nonprofit is never going to be sold. You know, we have it there, and it's to help veterans out, and that's what our goal is. You know,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's very easy to put a post up on social media on Veterans Day or on Memorial Day, and it's very easy to wave the flags and put them on our houses. But what are we really doing? And these people are dedicating not only their time, but in many, many cases their lives, and coming back ill.
Yeah.
And it's good to know that there are some people.
We need to do more for them. I always say people want to support veterans until it's time to support veterans.
Exactly.
Right? It's crazy.
Yeah. So Anthony, anything else you wanna add? I know it's by appointment only events.com if people are looking to look further into the big event coming up in July. Anything else you want to mention on that?
Listen, this is for salespeople. This is for business development representatives and managers. This is for service advisors. We have a service section going on where we're doing on-site service BDC and an off-site service BDC, speaker speaking. So this is good for anybody needing a dealership. We're going to have lots of motivation. We're going to be raising money for veterans. It's going to be a great event. We're going to bring a lot of people in the industry together, and I'm looking forward to breaking bread with a lot of people, including yourselves.
Awesome. And Mets and Yankee fans are welcome, correct?
Oh, both, absolutely.
Okay.
As long as you're rooting for New York, right?
Yeah. Yes. Rich, you got anything else to add, or are we rolling along here?
All I got to add is, Anthony, I am so proud of you. You've done a tremendous job. You've built your brand to the top. Sky's the limit. And I've been your biggest cheerleader. Like, I cheer for everybody that does work.
I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you so much. God bless you. And
I'll see you soon, my friend.
Absolutely.
You guys be good.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.